Greetings, everyone. This is Yehia Kandil presenting one of the masterpieces of the views of Venice by the Berberi. Um, Venice has always been known as the major printing center in Europe, and where books were translated on numerous languages to be shipped around the world. The city itself became the source of the trading of the printings. So to move back in the 15th century to show how the artistic works was trying to move towards mapping and printing the existing buildings and the roads and the accessibilities and how the place was occupied by a lot of Venetian Renaissance architectural buildings and elements. So, in the view of Florence by Francesco Rosilli by the 15th century, was presenting some sort of perspective that shows the buildings and the geographical, topographical also statements. And one of the Venetia famous drawings was uh, combined between the topographical and artistic sense of Venice itself. And one of the famous paintings for Arzenti di Venezia, which is the perception of Arzenti, presenting a perspective map that it's colored and showing the also architectural elements, which is on this era was Venetian Renaissance architecture, and it was basically reflecting the geometries and the ratios and the heights and the widths and the symmetry of the buildings, and to reflect this on the maps. So moving to Di Berberi, one of the masterpieces is The View of Venice, which was an iBird view of Venice. It was an aerial view. It was made by the famous Italian painter and printmaker Di Berberi. He has a lot of famous works that we see a lot on our daily life. At least if someone interested in arts and painting. Um, but today we will talk furtherly on the view of Venice that presented Venice in its political and religious strength on the 15th century. Um, this masterpiece was engraved on wood sheets. It was six sheets of papers engraved in woodcut, and the size of it combined was 2.8 meter by 1.3 meters. Um, this was it depicts the aerial view uh, on the Berberi perception of Venice. It was drawn in the 15th century and it was printed by the German merchant Anton Kolb and put on the market after 3 years of work. It was immediately sold, and to be reflecting Berberi's perception, he was revolutionary. He didn't like to present this map, aerial map, in a 2D form or some sort of cartoonish perspective. It was a highly detailed annotation of the existing buildings. He used 11 surveys. They went through high towers and high pieces of land and buildings, and they started to draw sections of Venice and to combine all of these together and presenting it in one work. Um, Barberi didn't uh, forget the religious part and the political. He added the gods, the Mercury and Neptune to present um, the prevailing winds and effects on the ships itself, um, and how this was showing the strength of the maritime and the sea trading and the commercial trading of the prints and the paintings at this time. Of course, he didn't forget to show the political power and the religious power of Venice, which was represented in Saint Mark Church, the Church of Holy Mary. This church was the center of the city political power. The emperor itself was regularly on this building, and uh, and he presented this on details on the aerial view of the map. Moving towards architectural elements and buildings, one of the bridges that he showed on the top left of on the map here. This miracle presented the wooden bridge, the Rileto Bridge, was constructed on the 15th century as well, and this building still exists till today. Of course, they have make some restoration for the structure. Originally, it was as here on the map, supported by wooden piles, and it was there in a detailed form of annotation on this map. Also, one of the architectural important buildings that represented um, uh, um, political and religious power of Venice, which is called Salute Canal. The complex was built on the before the 15th century, and it was there, and it's still there, and it was there in the map itself. Barbari's work moved from a lot of hands. It was circulated for a long time, and the provenance of this work was through a lot of families and museums until it got to Cleveland Museum, then it moved to London in England, and um, finally it's located on the urban layout of Venice in on the Museo Correr on Italy. Um, this was a masterpiece that showed that mankind can evolve. His perception was um, some sort of geniosity, how the detailed ships there, how the detailed political center of the city, the Holy Church, the ships, Mercury, how and Neptune itself presenting in a scientific analysis for the prevailing winds and on Venice, and how this work represents and depicts Venetian Renaissance architecture. And that map was empty of people because he was trying to show as much as details of the building instead of the people themselves, which would take the focus from the architecture to the people. This masterpiece proves that mankind can evolve, and deep Barbary was one of the uh, few and people that who was um, very innovative and very um, developed artists, that they just didn't put a realistic work into this. He also merged this with the artistic, political, and religious impacts that reflected by this time, and show it and present how the value of Venice on the 15th century was. Um, Thank you very much.